You believe you are a man of tremendous worth. I'm here to demolish your illusions, though. This isn't about using nice daily affirmations to boost your ego. This is about unpleasant, harsh truths. High-value men are those who put in the effort when others give up and do what others won't. They are the ones who don't hesitate to stand for themselves. Welcome to Z Taxi. On this channel, we love sharing relationship information, tips, and tricks to help you take your game to the next level. Subscribe if you're new here and give this video a big thumbs up for that good old YouTube algorithm. Now, without any further ado, let's begin. Chapter 1: Consuming Knowledge. You aren't high value if your head is as empty as a drum, regardless of how strong or charismatic you are. So, let's get to it. You want to be highly valued, don't you? Start by reading a book, listening to a podcast, or watching a documentary, if you will. You also have no right to tell me that you don't have time for it. Bullshit. High-value men make the time, and you really don't have the time either. Do you use your phone for a few hours in the mornings, day or night? That couldn't be used in the morning, are you saying? Ah, I see. Since they are aware that without information they are effectively dead in the sea, real high-value guys carve out the time, taking it out of their day as if it were a piece of wood. Do you believe Fortnite helped Elon Musk create his empire? No. He devoured information like a starving beast. So set the game console down and grab a book. Don't try to play me smart either, I'm not talking about any book. Don't buy any soppy romance or 50 Shades of Grey. I'm referring to intellectually stimulating novels that contradict what you believe. Books on any topic, including money, philosophy, science, technology, and strategy. Books that are too difficult to read in one sitting, making you squirm. Same applies to podcasts. Avoid idle conversation and the Bad Friends podcast since it is only entertaining and not intelligent or good. You want to listen to podcasts that stimulate your mind. Podcasts that expose you to fresh perspectives and new ideas. Additionally, avoid starting with any of those phony documentaries that seem to be cerebral. I'm referring to the positive things. Documentaries that explore the scope of human history, clarify the workings of the cosmos, and take you on a tour of the rise and fall of civilizations. What you need to know is this: knowledge consumption is not a leisurely process. It's not something you do to kill time. It is a routine every day. As important as breathing and eating. You'll be better off if you swallow your justifications and learn as if your life depended on it. Chapter 2: The Search for Mastery. High-value men do not have to be masters of all trades. He has mastered one or a few things. Please refrain from making up bullshit about being well-rounded. Yes, you should have a variety of skills, a solid foundation, and many other qualities. But choose a lane. You desire excellent worth. So narrow your focus, choose a profession or a topic of study, and start to work. Again, I'm not advocating that you stop learning about other subjects or widen your horizons. Do strive to have a well-rounded personality. But God, get to work and choose a field, a craft, or a discipline. Dive into it so deeply that you become crazy. You finish the process with a goddamn PhD. I'm not suggesting ignore the rest of the world, though. Obviously not. You must have a fundamental knowledge of the world. However, if you believe that the best course of action is to merely glance at 100 different topics, you are gravely mistaken. Men who are valuable have a core. Their entire world is centered on an axis. It's business for some people and technology for others. Could be a sport, a work of art, or a scientific field. It makes no difference what it is. It's important to work toward mastery in it. Furthermore, mastery, my friend, goes beyond simply being skilled at something. It's about being so proficient that you can jump on one foot while shouting the alphabet when your hands are tied behind your back and your eyes closed. Do you believe that Michael Jordan attained the title of greatest player by playing recreational basketball on the weekends? No. He gave the game his all, blood, sweat, and tears. He was the last person to leave the court after he arrived. He put up with discomfort, effort, and even mockery in order to achieve mastery. Is that what distinguishes the excellent from the great, then? That's what distinguishes a high-value man. What will it be then? Will you tie yourself to something, or will you just drift around aimlessly? There is no turning back once you decide to pursue mastery. It's a one-way street, but it leads to greatness, my friend. There is a particular kind of grandeur that must be achieved and is not given. The only kind of grandeur I find meaningful. Challenging comfort zones in Chapter 3. Let's be clear about this. Your worst opponent is your comfort zone. There is no oxygen in the nice little bubble you've created for yourself. You are being choked by it, and there is no reality there. Nice and simple is insufficient. A high-value man is not made by being nice and simple. Those who would rather live and die in mediocrity will find nice and easy. You are not that. It better not be, at least. If it is, leave immediately. I do not desire you. Listen, I understand. Well, comfort zones are just that, comfortable. It's comfortable and secure. But consider this. Safe, comfortable environments are not conducive to growth. It takes place in nature. It takes place in the shadows. When you exceed your limits, it occurs. You discover your character when you are hanging precariously over the edge and out on a limb. A valuable individual is comparable to a chunk of iron. You're curious as to how iron turns into steel. I suppose what I'm saying is that iron doesn't become steel by simply lying in a rock and waiting for heat to shape it into something. It doesn't just sit there. It is navigating the flames. It is being molded, quenched, and pounded. It is under consideration. And the process is difficult. But the outcome is something that is more durable, resilient, and strong. So, consider this. Would you rather be a slab of steel or a lump of iron? It's fantastic that you said steel, since it shows you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone. You are prepared to enter the flames. I'm not suggesting that you quit your job or go bungee jumping tomorrow, though. Be wise. Bungee jumping is obviously highly beneficial, but you shouldn't just do it. Don't abandon everything at once. No, it's usually advisable to step outside of your comfort zone gradually. It involves using the stairs rather than the elevator. It involves rising an hour early on the first day, and then again the following day. It involves reading a book rather than binge-watching Netflix, and you might not even finish a book in its whole as long as you would watch Netflix. Instead, you might have planned to watch it for 3 hours. This sounds like something that most people could easily do. The first hour may be spent reading instead of the whole 3 hours, and the second hour could be increased to an hour and a half tomorrow. When you normally say yes, you have to say no. The idea is to challenge yourself every day by doing something new, uncomfortable, or outside of your comfort zone. As you do this, incredible things will start to happen. You will begin to develop. You're going to grow physically by an inch. Now, however, you'll grow a little taller spiritually. You'll begin to change. You'll start to gain greater self-assurance, skill, and capability. Pushing boundaries is not being careless. The bonds of complacency are being broken. Chapter 4: Time Management. There's this thing that many people get caught up in. When I say victim, I mean they are responsible for harming others. You shamelessly disregard and take advantage of other people's time while doing it right in front of your face. It's not your mother, no. It's even more priceless than that. It is now. The currency of life, ladies and gentlemen, is time. It is the only resource you can never have enough of. Every single second that passes is a second you won't get back, and it's the one thing you can't bargain for, buy, or buy back. Even though it's quite obvious, it's still harsh, right? That is, after all, the fact. Stop wasting it, then. Men of significance are aware of the influence of time. They treat it with respect, harness it, and turn it into a friend rather than an adversary. Because many individuals have regrets as they age, achieve enough so that you feel like the time you have been given on this earth was a gift and you used it properly. So you won't live to be old and regret nothing. There will be regrets in life. To minimize it is the goal. So stop wasting time on useless activities and start putting it toward what is truly important. You see that guy watching TV nonstop all day? Or the other man who spends all day playing video games? You shouldn't be that. You are superior to that. You have to be. When you value time, you make good use of it. You're doing it on purpose. Every second, minute, and hour matters. You are on a quest, and every second moves you in one direction or the other toward your objectives. And don't you dare tell me that I don't have enough time, I do. Not at all, no. None of them do. In actuality, most people come to appreciate how brief their lives were when they reach the end of them if they have not been suicidal their entire lives. Ask a person who is 40 years old. Ask a person who is 40 years old how old they feel and how recently they felt young. Yes, it will be strange. What are you doing with your 24 hours, then? Do you progress? Educating yourself? How are you doing? Or are you simply wasting it by allowing the hours to pass and each breath to be in vain? Be truthful. It's okay if the response doesn't satisfy you. That is the starting point for transformation. Stop the foolishness. Make every second count by concentrating on what is important. And keep in mind that time management is more than just staying busy. Being productive is key. It's all about finishing the job. As the phrase goes, try working smarter rather than harder. Establish priorities and follow them. Honor your time. Make it matter. And to be really honest, that's probably the best advice I could possibly give you. Since once your time has passed, it has passed. Now that I'm 23, I find it impossible to imagine speaking to a 14-year-old version of myself and telling her things like, "Snap is going to go by," and all that. Your life will have been wasted for 9 years. That's how the math there, in my opinion, but whatever. You see what I mean? It's so constrained. Fearless Exploration, Chapter 5. Have you ever noticed how all the best stories involve exploration? The ones that enthrall us and slightly quicken our hearts. They don't involve the man who remained at home. They tell the story of the intrepid traveler and adventurer who ventured into the uncharted territory. And you're curious as to why? Because exploring has such a tremendous quality. We are drawn to it, and something deep inside our primate minds is stirred by it. Something wild, something unafraid. You can feel that? That characterizes a high-value man. Yeah. It's time to get up if you want to be that man. Start your exploration now. No, I'm not referring to booking a ticket to a faraway place. While that's fantastic, it's not the main point. I'm referring about venturing into the uncharted waters of your life, your potential, and your ability. I'm talking about having the bravery to push outside of your comfort zone and travel a path less taken. But consider this. Being careless is not the point of exploration. It does not entail disregarding safety and hoping for the best. It has to do with accepting uncertainty. Yes, but it's also important to be ready. It involves being aware of the hazards, balancing them against the benefits, and then moving forward with caution and knowledge. You know that dream you've been keeping to yourself, the one you haven't really shared with anyone because you're worried they'll make fun of you or tell you it won't come true? So that's where your investigation begins. Your moon landing, my friend, is your Everest. And don't you dare call it unrealistic or imaginative. You must not permit fear to prevent you from pursuing it. Exploring fearlessly means accepting uncertainty and using it as fuel. Even when you can't see the way ahead, you are meant to be where you are and to think that success is possible. Be prepared to fail. Be prepared to fail again if necessary, since it will inevitably happen. And in order to achieve something larger, these things must take place. High-value guys recognize that failure is not the antithesis of success. It's a step in the procedure. It's time to confront reality, dude. These are not merely behaviors you should incorporate into your morning routine or cross off your to-do list. Additionally, these practices are a way of life, a way of being. Keep in mind that understanding these tendencies is not sufficient. You must practice them. You must inhale them. You must practice them and live them. Your dedication to the process is the only thing preventing you from being the high-value man you desire. Your commitment? Because your behaviors will affect your future, I would advise making good decisions.